In this example, you're going to learn how to use process definition snapshots. Snapshots come in very useful when you want to make, let's say, backups of a process, or if you want to use even versioning, snapshot versioning. So let's go ahead and do an example of this. I'm going to open my WF design process in the process designer. Once this is open in this little process, you can see we have a task 1 and a task 2. And I'm going to go and create a snapshot. So when I say create a snapshot, it's going to take a picture or a snapshot of what it looks like at this point in time of the process. So let me call this the V1, version 1, and say create. Now that this particular one is created, let's go ahead and make a little change to our process. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this and add another task step. And let's call this task 3 and save that and save the workflow. And now what we can do is we can actually go and say, I want to, create this as version 2. So let me say version 2. So now I have two snapshots, V1 and V2. I can always go back and restore. For example, you can see what V2 looks like. I can say, hey, you know what, I want to go back to my V1, go ahead and restore it. And this will reload the process designer. And you can see what the V1 of this particular design looks like. We can now go back again, and if you want, we can reload V2 of it. You can say, hey, I want you to restore V2. And this will reload V2 of the snapshot. So this is built-in functionality, snapshot functionality within the workflow designer. You can also select a snapshot and say render it, and it will render the image of it. But you can also go outside of this particular process designer and manage snapshots from a different view. So if you select the workflow definition or the process definition, you can go to actions and go to manage snapshots. This will give you a different view. In this view, you can see what snapshots you have. So I have V1 and V2. I can also select a snapshot. I can create a new snapshot based on the current process definition. I can restore a snapshot. I can remove selected or all or any of the backup snapshots. And I can also create a brand new workflow definition, process definition from a selected snapshot. I can click on render and that will show me what it looks like. So here's our V2, here's what our V1 looks like. And then I can also export a snapshot, or I can export all the snapshots as zip. We also have some functionality here where we can actually graphically compare the snapshots. So let's go ahead and compare V1 with V2 and say compare. And this will tell us what steps are added. So for example, you can see we compared V1 to V2. And it's telling me that in V2, the V1 doesn't have this step. So if we go and compare, let's say V2 to V1, you can see that in V2, this step was added. So we can give you a graphical comparison of two different snapshots, and you can see what the differences are graphically. So snapshots are very powerful, especially if you're modifying a very large workflow. You can always make a backup of it. It's a good practice to get into, where you can say, okay, I'm going to change this today, the workflow, and before you make that change, you make a snapshot. In case you make a mistake, you delete something, you want to get back, you can always go back. There's a restore point or a snapshot that you can restore to and have the original workflow back. Hope this helps you understand process snapshots within Flowrite, and you can use them to put them to good use. Thank you.